Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing another movie review for you all. This movie is a dark comedy from Spain, Spanish language English subs, released in the year 2000, directed by Alex de la Iglesia, and this film is called Commonwealth. So Commonwealth is set in an apartment complex. We have a real estate agent who is trying to sell off a luxurious apartment, but she's not having any luck. But her luck changes when one of the neighbours dies and leaves behind a very large fortune. So it's stored in a secret area and it's a lot of cash. So this real estate agent actually comes across this cash, and now she's going to have to try and escape this apartment complex, but to her horror, the neighbours want her dead because they want the money. And so she escapes the apartment complex. She's going to be free and she's going to be very rich, but whether or not she can actually achieve her dream is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Commonwealth. Alex de la Iglesia is an absolute master at dark comedy, and so for that reason I was very excited to see Commonwealth. It's one of his lesser known films, but if it stayed true to who Alex de la Iglesia is, I was in for an absolute treat. So this is a guy that actually gives you shocking content but makes it humorous in a way that you feel guilty for laughing at it. And it's a very hard thing to do, but Alex de la Iglesia does it better than most. And so he's one of my favourite directors for that specific reason. He made a movie called Last Circus that was a tragic, depressing film, but at the same time a very humorous film. And so it's just a very, very difficult thing to do, but he's definitely in his comfort zone when it comes to this sort of thing. So Commonwealth, not knowing too much about it, but with the expectations based on the fact that this is such a good director, I was hoping that it was going to be worth the time and effort. And thankfully, after watching Commonwealth, I will say that this is incredibly entertaining. It's not his best film, but it is far from bad, and it's definitely a film that you have to see if you are a fan of this individual. So this is a film that is a cautionary tale about the power of greed. How you can be a decent person, but in order to achieve riches, you can just dismiss all of what's good about you and can create a sense of evil. And so evil is within this apartment complex, and it is very, very chaotic because these individuals are all trying to get that one thing, and that is this fortune. So the real estate agent, when she picks up the money, she's trying to get through this maze of danger, but whether or not she does, that's what keeps you interested. And so the larger-than-life characters in this movie are absolutely fantastic. It's fantastically written. I thought as that was very, very humorous, and the characters are larger than life. And so it's a film that, as I said, it's a cautionary tale, but it's not trying to take itself seriously. It knows exactly what it wants to be. It wants to entertain the crowd, and it does exactly that. So it's very, very self-aware. You have that sense that it's slightly in a different dimension, but it's not so much that it becomes absolutely ridiculous. It stays grounded in somewhat reality to actually maintain that level of connection. So you're not quite sure who's going to actually come out with the money. There's no real good guy and bad guy. They're all as bad as each other, so you don't really take sides. It's basically just a game of who is actually going to come out in the end. So there are some shocking moments that I thought were incredibly funny. Once again, stays true to what this director is all about. If you are not a fan of laughing at horrible things, then maybe this is not a film for you. But I just liked it because there's enough disconnection to prevent it from being disturbing, but there's not as much disconnection to actually make it a movie that you just don't care about. And so the characters, I always thought as though, alright, well, they are somewhat likeable, so when horrible things are happening to them, that's what creates that shock. But as I said, that slight disconnection and actually making it almost like a different dimension is what enables you to laugh at what's going on. And so, as I said, that is the true essence of dark comedy, is that, okay, you're shocked, but at the same time you're laughing because it's not quite real, but at the same time, as I said, it's not disconnected so far that you're actually laughing at something that is completely out of the realms of possibility. So as the movie progresses, I thought the continuity is fantastic. It doesn't take a lot of time to really set up what it's doing, and it jumps off the platform and it has a lot of fun doing it. So if you are a fan of Alex de la Iglesia, this is a movie I'd highly recommend. If I had issues with this movie, as I said, it doesn't take itself seriously enough to be an award-winning film, but it doesn't want to do that. It just wants to allow the viewer to have a lot of fun in an hour and a half, and if you're after that, Commonwealth is definitely one I would highly recommend. It's a lot of fun. There are some fairly offensive moments. As I said, it is a dark comedy, so please, be prepared for what you're actually going to get yourself in for. It's not a graphically violent movie. It's not a horrifically disturbing film, but it is dark. It does have a dark heart, and it has a lot of fun just reveling in the chaotic situations that this movie produces. And so it is finely acted. I thought as though, as I said, a lot of people, the actors are having a lot of fun with their characters because, as I said, they're very three-dimensional. They're very out there, but not, as I said, not out there to the level of being ridiculous. And so there is control amongst the chaos, which is something that I love, and it's the reason why I love this director. And as a result of this, I'm going to give Commonwealth 4 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.